Hello, teammates, and welcome to The Goal Diggers, a program where we discuss stories of leadership and motivation with sports serving as a metaphor dedicated to daily grinders, corporate athletes, and go-getters. This is Simone Haldon digging in with my co-hosts, Relly San Agustin, Robbie De Vera, and Dr. Bina D. So in the previous episode, we had a conversation with a PBA legend and a renowned sportscaster, Vince and Patricia Hizon, who shared with us 3 tips that have helped them in their parenting journey so far. And the first tip is be intentional and develop an intimate relationship with your kids. The Hizons emphasize knowing what their children like and support their strengths. Modeling behavior and adjusting the approach based on their needs are also important points they highlight. Tip number 2, help them have a vision for their lives and future. Faith plays a big role in the Hizons' parenting journey as they guide their children and make decisions as a family. So practicing their faith allows them to constantly reflect, to have a higher sense of purpose, and to keep them grounded. And it provides them with a healthy environment, being surrounded with good people and being mindful of the values that are rooted in faith. And tip number 3, get your child into sports because active kids turn into active adults. The Hizons emphasize how sports allows you to put into action the values that build character, having the focus and discipline to put in the extra work to make yourself a better person. So not only parents, but anyone working with kids can learn from the practical advice the Hizons have shared on how to raise a champion. And today we're digging into the family journey of another interesting pair, and we get to hear firsthand from their children their personal experience growing up in their household. But before we delve into that, let's hear from the rest of our fellow goal diggers. Doc Shobes, Relly, and Robbie, what else can our teammates expect from this episode?
Hi, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us once more for another exciting episode of the parenting journey of raising champions in the future.
Thanks, Doc. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Raising a Champion, brought to you by us, the Gold Diggers. Tonight, we have with us, together with his family, a celebrated coach having won numerous titles with the PBA and now holds the most important coaching position in the country. Stick around as we listen to this close-knit family and share their journeys on how each have become champions in their own right. Robbie, who do we have tonight?
Thanks, Rels. Hey, teammates, we're excited to have you on the program. With special thanks, of course, to Milo and most especially to our next guests. They're fellow gold diggers and the powerhouse name in sports. This evening, we're very privileged to have our good friends, Coach Jong Uichico, his wife Cathy, and of course, his children. So we're very privileged, and please stay tuned as we dig into their parenting journey. Let's formally welcome them on board, Sim.
Thanks, guys. So today we have the privilege to dig into the family journey of one of the winningest coaches in Philippine basketball, and he's currently the head coach of Gilas Pilipinas, Coach Jong Uichico. And if you'd like to know more about his tips on how to adapt to change, check out episode 13 of The Gold Diggers featuring Coach Jong. So together with him today are his wife, Cathy, who, after retiring early while their children were younger, chose to become a housewife and keep the household up and running. So she is a family cheerleader and prayer warrior, and of course, Coach Jong's #1 teammate. And their children are also here with us today. We have Johan, who's a nature lover, a former Blue Eagle, PBL player, and national athlete. So pivoting from his time as an athlete, he found his way into med school and is currently a doctor of radiology. So we also have Jared, who is a former New York banker, an MBA graduate from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and is currently the head of partnership distribution in Manila, Philippines. And the youngest chica in the room, Natasha, who is a communications graduate from Ateneo de Manila and was the Blue Eagles team manager. She, in 3 of her 4 years as a team's manager, the Blue Eagles won 3 championships. Currently, she is a senior account manager in Newark's Interactive Labs. So beyond the court, and now we get to know more about this family's journey. It's my privilege and it's my honor to welcome today with us the Uichico family. Hi, guys.
Hello everybody. Hi Relly, Simon, Robbie. Hi Doc, Hope everything is well with you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, so we're very grateful to have you guys with us today, and especially the whole family. I'm sure you guys have, such a busy schedule, so it's kind of rare to have you all in one room, especially for an interview. So, but to kick things off, we'd like to know more about you guys, Coach Jong and Miss Cathy. Can you tell us, what have you guys been up to lately, especially from the early months of the pandemic until now?
Personally, during the start of the pandemic, it was really a wait and see for everybody. We thought that it would not last long. So, pero as time passed, weeks passed, months passed, we had to do something already. So, first was getting into Zooms, attending Zoom seminars, all basketball seminars because since walang physical activities, it gave us opportunity to learn more. And I also started joining together with Robbie the MWF forum, wherein there was a group of kindred individuals, as they call us, different walks of life, getting together in a Zoom and talk and listening to so many speakers about different topics. So that's what I was doing all throughout this pandemic, and of course exercising.
How about you, Miss Cathy? What keeps you busy nowadays?
Not really busy, but then more of a support for my for John, for the house, for the home, keeping it running. And then at the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to prepare for them? Yeah, so more of the cooking and all the making sure the home is in order. And then I also take care of my parents, which I enjoy also doing. So I'm here and there with this home, and then I go to my parents and then check on my children. But they're on their own mode.
That's nice to hear. So apparently you guys kept yourselves busy as well. So, ma'am, Cathy, and Coach, were there challenges that you actually faced during the pandemic, or adjustments that you had, that were really quite big that you had to face?
Meron malaking adjustment because kinda active yung lifestyle namin ko personally. Kinda active. Since I'm part of the Samahan Basketball ng Pilipinas, I go all over the province to conduct clinics and seminars to grassroots coaches. And then attend all of this, yung mga going out of the country, making speaking engagements. So very active yung lifestyle namin. And then all of a sudden, this happens and you end up staying in the house the whole time. So hindi ka talaga mapakali. Pero that's what coaches that's what you learn from coaching and being an athlete, na you've got to adapt to the change and be flexible. So ganun ang ginawa ko. And it gives you find the positive, like it's good na magkakasama ngayon kami ng family namin, my son, my daughter, and then my son came here from abroad. So we just took that opportunity. I know there's so many negativity, but try to look for something positive that can come out of the situation. So that's what we did. I personally did.
That's good, no, Coach? Parang seeing a silver lining in spite of the pandemic. Kasi parang, di ba, most would actually found it so parang dreading it na, no? But it's good. Parang I like it that you guys found this time to bond nga as a family. That's good. Good to hear that.
Ako more of great gratitude because parang I see like my daughter Natasha, she works from home. I see her that she's very how she is at work and now she's working from home, and how I see her strength and she has the value for work and she's really focused. So I didn't see that part of her. So I like it, and I like seeing her. Jong, I see, and he's always out. So yeah, I like it that we're together. And I think it's not even sacrifice that we're not able to go out, but it's like more of being grateful na we're okay. But then when others are not, so parang yeah, there.
That's true, no? Kumbaga parang yung value nyo as a family parang na-strengthen during the pandemic.
That's great, guys. So thanks for the candor, Coach Jong and Miss Cathy. Now, considering this is one family that's really heavily rooted in sports, can you tell us about how your family is involved in sports?
Ako alam ko naman na everybody knows naman how involved I am in basketball. Even if it's not coaching, it's teaching the grassroots, teaching coaches in the grassroots level, which is part of my advocacy, parang giving back to basketball. My son's also was involved in basketball. My daughter was involved in volleyball, and my middle child, Jared, the middle kid, is parang he found his own niche, not necessarily into the sports, but found his own niche in the academic sector, kumbaga. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, that's great, Coach. I think my question to you as a family, is was there any special or unforgettable experience in your sports journey that actually has affected everyone, in a positive way?
Yeah, I can say. I think I've never really asked them that, but I think that the way I worked, probably nakita nila na even if you're not talented in one endeavor or another, if you really work hard in trying to become the best that you are, then hopefully things will work your way. Because there are a lot of, in my personal experience, there are a lot of great coaches out there na they're just good coaches, but kailangan, you should work double hard, and I think that's what they saw in me, and trying really to become, since I've gotten into coaching, you might as well spend the effort and the time to become a better coach. And instead of looking for something else that you want to do, this is what God has given you, and do the best you can already, and work, learn whatever you can, work the best you can, so that your chances of succeeding are high if you really work hard. So I think that's the positive thing about them seeing me as a basketball coach.
I like that, Coach. The whole just leading by example. It doesn't have to be like in the same profession, right? But having them go through their own path, no, and what they are, their own dreams, but being able to see you as an example to be able to achieve those. And I think that's one thing that's very important, no, especially in a family.
Yeah, lalo na ngayon, the kids now are less, hindi masyadong matyaga sa isang bagay. They like to move from one thing to another. And like during our time, talagang pagtsatsagaan mo yung something until you've exhausted all means possible to become successful in that endeavor. So I think that's one positive thing that impacted their lives as an example.
That gives us a really brief background of how you guys are like as parents. And as you mentioned, all of your children are adults now, and they're all doing really well in their respective professions. So each of them have excelled through their own efforts. But we're very curious about the kind of environment they grew up in, and the kind of guidance you gave your children. So how would you describe your parenting journey with each of them when they were younger? Let's start with Miss Cathy and then with Coach Jong.
Okay. I enjoy parenting. I enjoy being a mom to them. And then I always saw the good things in them always. Parang I just they're good kids. They're obedient kids. They're easy. I don't think I had a difficult time, like in terms of values, in terms of respect, and I enjoy them. I just enjoy them. As simple as that. That's all.
Yeah, well, just like there's always a foundation, there are also fundamentals of parenting. And one of the fundamentals is being disciplined, teaching them discipline. Fundamental yan sa lahat ng parenting. It does not change. The other things change, but the fundamental is being disciplined and loving each other and having peace and unity between siblings and family. So that's basic. But each and every one, you treat them very, very differently because not all of them are the same.
Yes.
And people people tick the other way while others tick the other way, so that's how I, it's not a perfect style, but getting to know them and then trying to see how things get through them. That's the way I think, you should deal, which I dealt with my children in different ways. But of course, we all want discipline. We all want peace within each other. Kasi that's what kailangan yun ang, you don't want them, tatatlo na lang sila. You don't want them arguing with each other. So I'm very happy that the three of them, love each other and enjoy each other's company. Of course, one will always say that we favor the other one, but that's just it's life. That's life. It's not fair. Hindi naman fair yung, pero we try to balance it out also. Just as long as it is within certain limits. Like, for example, Jared went to the States. He started in the States. The two stayed in the Philippines. So, but it's for the good of Jared, diba?
Yes.
For the good of Jared, and we see naman that he's been successful, and may sacrifice din yun. At least the two kids were with us and growing up with us. So it's not perfect, but we try to balance it the best way we can.
May I add also, for me as a parent, as a mom, parang, by example, like, let the kids see that we really love each other. We express our love for each other. We always say, I love you. I always say, I love you to my children. I love you to Jong. I'm the expressive type. And it's like, in that way, you create a safe environment for them in the home. So when they're outside, they're secured with love, right? They don't have to find love elsewhere. That they're secured with love. They're secured with themselves. They're secured with the relationship that they have with us, with each other. So I think as simple as that, love.
I really love that. I mean, you make sure you recognize their individuality and adjust accordingly also. And the fact that you make sure that they're loved and that they're secure in your relationship. And, you guys it seems like you guys have such a close-knit family and such a healthy relationship with them. But just to add to that, I'm curious also in terms of the influence on how you guys are as parents, and particularly having Coach Jong also, being a basketball coach. Is there any influence in your parenting style?
Sa akin, yes, malaking influence yung coaching and parenting, because coaching is it's not coaching the X and the O's. It's built on relationship. The coaching is built on relationship. The more successful coaches all over the world, even in the States, have good relationship with their players, because that is what will bring you through any adversity. It's your togetherness. When you are losing, it's your togetherness that will hopefully push you through all this adversity. If you are not very close and do not have a strong faith in your relationship, magkakanya-kanya na yun eh. So this is the foundation of the relationship. Is what our foundation is in parenting. It's trying to, like, communication, expressing your your love for them, not only between you and your children, but it's also between siblings is what's important, because at the end of the day, we will all be gone, and tatlo na lang sila matitira sa family, because of, and then their children, their wife. So tatlo na lang sila. So their relationship, their foundation now pa lang, kailangan strong yon, and that they will stay together, stick together, don't be jealous, don't be don't be inggit with each other, and kayo na lang yan eventually. So that's how we, same with the basketball team. Kailangan walang inggitan, walang sapawan. Everybody is all in it together, because if one loses, everybody loses. Same thing with the family. So that's what we're trying really to do in my parenting style also.
Ako, I just want to add also, what makes it easy for me as a parent, I think it's the spirituality that you put in them. Faith in God, that's so important. It's like, parang they know that they know that we have this, there's a greater, higher than ourselves. And instilling that faith in them, and just making sure that they do have that faith and that relationship with God. That's important. It's not the religiosity of it or the rituals of it, but yes, of course, it's important that kami, we're Catholics, so we go to mass, and and practicing our faith. It makes it all easier having that God in this family. I don't think we would be able to have a successful or harmonious family life without God. That to me is very important, and I hope and I wish that the children will, maybe they will pass it on to their own families.
I love that. I mean, you're grounding your relationship also on faith, on having those values as well, and of course, having that healthy relationship in that family is making sure, allows you guys to be able to communicate very well with each other. So I mean, now it's time to hear from the Unica Iha of the family and the youngest. So Tasha, I mean, Tasha is currently a senior account manager at a digital marketing agency called New Works Interactive Labs. And we know that the world of marketing and advertising can be pretty demanding. So how did you end up choosing that profession? And how has the environment at home helped you deal with the daily challenges of the job?
Yes, Tim, there's really no perfect word to describe the industry that I'm in. Yes, it's demanding, it's fast paced, but still very exciting. Actually, when I was in college, I wasn't sure which career path I was going to pursue. I entered Ateneo as a comm major and thought actually about shifting to pre-med to follow my brother. But in the time I was discerning, I look back at the things that I was really passionate about and the things that I enjoyed. Which goes to show that growing up and looking back when I was growing up, my parents always exposed us to different activities, and being the only girl, there was a lot of experimenting then that happened with me. They enrolled me in many different activities every summer, activities ranging from like art classes, minsan nagva-violin din ako, I had ballet classes as well. And a number of sports, of course, like we can't disregard sports, being in a family of like sports enthusiasts. So I took up like football, tennis, tapos of course volleyball, which I pursued in high school. But in the end, it was really me who chose what I was more inclined to and interested in, and where I saw myself I could excel or succeed in. And that's what I really appreciated with my parents. Like nothing was forced. Yes, in the beginning it was guided, but in the end, everything was really my choice of what I wanted to continue, no? But the question now is really like, is passion for something like enough to keep you motivated, especially knowing that there are challenges in the real world and stress that never seems to go away being in marketing, no? It still goes back into the values that my parents instilled in me, and then the three of us, not just me, whether these were meant or not. there was one value that my mom mentioned, or my dad mentioned regarding like being like in a team, or families like in a team, because my job really involves dealing with different people who are not like you at all, internally and externally. It's really necessary to recognize the uniqueness in each person that you're dealing with, and the role that they play in bringing prosperity and a healthy relationship within the team, in order to, of course, deliver the best output to our clients. Because at the end of the day, it's really about delivering really good output to clients. Lastly, when I look at my parents, kasi, and that's what my mom said, everything that they do is really a labor of love. For example, for my dad, he really loves and is really passionate about basketball, coaching, his family, and he inspires me to kind of be the same and work for the things that I love and the people that I love more. It just makes your actions more intentional and purposeful, or your life more purposeful. So, ayun, thank you, mom and dad, for guiding and disciplining us as we were growing up. But of course, trusting us now that we're a little bit more independent. A little bit kasi nandito pa rin ako sa bahay. So, ayun.
This is very eloquently put. I mean, if I were your parents, I'd be so proud just from that answer alone. So what you shared so far with us is really the value of the preparation that your parents gave you, and the kind of exposure they gave you that helped you also in your journey, in your career. So I'm curious to hear now what Doc Shobes has to say on what you guys have shared so far.
I know, I'm really very it's really very admirable of how the Coach Jong and Mom Cathy raised their kids. So I hope everyone still remembers what I mentioned regarding parenting styles, having to really balance both demandingness and responsiveness. Remember, demandingness is the extent that we demand or control our children's behavior or demand their maturity. But on the other hand, responsiveness refers to the degree us parents should be accepting and sensitive to our children's needs, both developmentally and emotionally. So again, I remember I mentioned it was established that the authoritative parenting style actually produced the best outcome. This is because it is both high in demandingness and high in responsiveness. And the key there is actually there's democracy. So letting our children choose their path. So notice how Coach and Mom Cathy are very responsive to their children, how they listen to them. Diba? It has always been Mom Cathy has been very emphatic, how an open communication is really a key. So although, diba, you notice, although they expect a lot from their children, but at the same time, the warmth, feedback, and adequate support are always present there. So parang I like the statement of Mom Cathy, parang she really wants them to feel how secure they are in terms of their parenting. So parang they're also the type of parents now, for example, if their kids fail to meet their expectations, instead of them punishing them or parang putting them down, they are more of nurturing and forgiving. So, and at the same time, yung demand nila, parang the standards, hindi nila binababaan. Parang it's continuously up there. Although they are very assertive, parang they don't restrict them naman. So, kumbaga, rather than punishment, more of supportive sila. So again, kita naman natin, you mentioned how successful na all their kids because as they say, the authoritative type of parenting will actually produce the best outcome. So their children tend to be more socially responsible, more self-regulated, and their 3 children are the best examples we have now.
That's great, Doc. No, so lots of notes from my end. What I've captured so far is that the parents really expressed their feelings. They were both open and establishing a really good relationship with their kids. So much so that they're really building the team, as Tash has put it. So that the kids as a team on their own, and even the family unit as an entire team, who all feel loved and care for one another. I also like how you really espouse the value of preparing the kids for the future by exposing them all to multiple things and then seeing what sticks. And then finally, with what Doc Shob said on, the proper balance between demandingness and responsiveness with regard to like what the kids are, on how to guide the kids. Now, both of you really espouse the value of exposure and preparation in raising them, and you guided them properly. You were both strict with their academics alongside their passions and interests. Now, coming from this style of upbringing, Miss Cathy and Coach Jong, how did you then handle the next step of their life, which was like from college onwards? Which was, parang you mentioned it was really going to become the foundation of their adulthood.
Well, ano yan kasi yan eh, when you reach, kasi when they reach college, dapat, as you said, kailangan preparado na sila. They should already be prepared in their foundation. Kailangan malakas na yung foundation nila, which is, faith is a foundation wherein they have guidance already, not only from their parents, but also they have guidance from the, from the Lord. And then it gives you tuloy-tuloy na yan, and your values that you teach, that is part of their preparation. So now it's just a matter of being able to harness all these things that you prepare them to be, and na-expose na sila sa lahat, and they've made mistakes, decided the right way, ganon. So, and hopefully the values that you instill them in will keep them on the right direction. So now you're in college, dapat ang sa amin is sometimes when you're in college, they start having their own lives, pero parang minsan kami parents, especially kami, we still not that type of communication, so we still know what's happening in their lives, even if they're college. So there's a collaboration, as we say, between our kids and ourselves, constant communication. Because when you're in college, even me, when I was in college, my parents hardly knew already what I was doing, because wala na, probably we go home late, and then the next day you go to class the next morning, so you don't really see each other. So that that time that you have together, whether it's on the phone, I mean, sometimes technology, we don't like technology, but there are also advantages of this technology. Imagine, for example, we're a phone call away, a text away, a cell phone call away. So since the activities have been very hectic for all of us, that phone, that technology becomes very helpful in terms of communication, unlike during our time, walang cell phone. Pero the activities were much lesser naman, di ba? So, especially now, it gets to be so many things that you have no control. It's confusing. So, yeah, so, knowing this, knowing each and everybody's individuality, individuality helps you a lot, because not everybody can be treated the same way. So, like I said, there are different ticks for everybody. So one kid will tick this way, one player will tick that way, one player will tick. So you've got to find all these ticks that will make them, that how you will get through them properly. Is it communication? Is it bringing them out? Is it watching a movie? Whatever it is. So you have to find that what makes them tick. I call it makes them tick, because players are like that. You've got to find how this player, how to motivate them and how to excite them, something like that.
Thanks, Coach Jong. Miss Cathy, would you like to expound on that also?
So they're young adults now, they're in college already, right? So hopefully, more or less, as a parent, you're kind of confident they're going to be okay. The trust that you give them, right? You give them, that you trust them. They know that there are, in things that they do, there are consequences. See? And they say that when they're young adults, you let them go. Not really. There will be, not makulit, no? But reminders, just certain reminders like that. But sometimes you observe them and you see that they have those traits, those timeless traits like respect, for the littlest person in the street, how they treat them, you see it. So you're confident that when they're in school, they're college, when they're with friends, they go out, they're okay. They have it. You see it there. It can't be hidden. So I give them that trust and a few reminders on, consequences.
I always tell my kids, especially the two boys, talaga you ask them, and I think I've told Natasha also that for every action there is a consequence.
There is a consequence.
So before you act, make sure, think about it. I'm not saying, so pag-aralan mo na yung action mo. Because for every action, there is a consequence. You'll think about it, and then if I decide to do this, what consequence can it result to? Diba? So, you decide. Eventually, when you grow up, you will decide on what action to take. But remember, before you take an action, just know that what consequence it will bring out. So, yun lang number one ko sa kanila. So, that's really my number one, because we cannot decide for them. We can guide them in their decision, but at the end of the day, when they're older, college, when they get married, when they're working, they will be the one to decide on what action to take. So then there's always a consequence.
That's great, Coach and Miss Cathy. So what I've gathered from what you've said so far is that, you really guided them with, as you mentioned, the faith and values very early on. So much so that when they are older now, you sort of give them trust and confidence already to make their own decisions. And then by focusing also by teaching them very early on the importance of the consequences of their actions, and then preparing them for their next steps. I also like what you said on, making sure that you find what makes each of them tick and how you treat each and every one of them individually, right, as their own persons. Super solid advice. And maybe I'd like to get Jared's input here as well. Jared, of course, is the second son of Coach Jong and Miss Cathy. And Jared being very accomplished as well. So as Simone has mentioned earlier, he has been educated in Fordham and then the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, having worked also in South Korea, Malaysia, Dubai, and Japan, and finally currently works here as the head of partnership distribution for Manulife Philippines, and also a parent himself. So Jared, what has the value of knowing the kids as individuals and collaborating with each and every one of you contributed to your journey, and what can you say about this?
No, thanks, Robbie, and thanks for having me as well. I guess for me, right, my parents, to some extent, really let us do what they felt was our strengths and really capture that. No, for me, as was mentioned earlier, I wasn't really into sports. We tried many times, but they never really pushed me. And for me, I was really curious about the world. I was always curious about different countries, different things. I really loved school, and being in school and being at home. I guess the flip side there was that was my comfort zone. I never really liked leaving home outside of going to school. So but they never said, "Oh, you should." They never pushed me to do anything interesting. Is even the topic of as we're talking about going to college, right? My parents never said, "Oh, you should go to the States or you should stay home or take this course or that course." It came as a question or almost like a provocation, right? Like, what if you go to the US? What do you think about that? And for me, my character at that time, very scared. I was 14, 15 when that topic first came out. And what my parents did was they sent me to the States, to New York, alone. I was like 14 or 15 for the first time. My mom's sister lives there. And I thought that she would drive me around, look at schools. But I guess my mom and my tita collaborated on this. And my tita just dropped me off at the bus station and said, "Here's $20. Here's a Metro card. Here's the map of New York City. And these are the places you're going to go to, and go." And, I was scared at first, but I enjoyed it so much. that first time of going out of my comfort zone, having to ask people where I need to go, going to directions. Fordham, which is where I ended up, is in the Bronx, which is a working class neighborhood, not necessarily a tourist spot. So being able to go there, and I said, wow, this is something different. And my parents didn't say, oh, you should go to Fordham, you should go to New York, right? They let me get there on my own and tested. And I guess if I said, no, this is not for me, they would have accepted that. And once sort of that started for me, I had that, I guess, very memorable moment that my parents sort of arranged for me. I went home and it was a lot of discerning. I was 15, 16 maybe when this process started. And it was a lot of talking, a lot of collaboration. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to leave my friends? Do I want to leave my family? Basically pack my bags and be on my own in the biggest city in the world at 17. And my dad and I had a good talk about it. And he said, it's a big investment, it's a big sacrifice, but we believe you can do it. And they believe more in me than I did in myself. And, but again, our talk was, if you really want to do it, let's make sure we both see it through, right? Like let's finish the 4 years, let's do it together. I know there were a lot of sacrifices of not having me there, and also financially, of course, because it was a big investment, and I'm really grateful for that. And moving to the US really changed me. It made me more independent. It really taught me how to fend for myself, to be grounded on my purpose, and to discover what I really wanted to do. And little did I know that decision or that guidance of my parents really helped me. I never knew I would have a career where I'd have to make a decision every 2 years of what country do I want to go next, or what role do I want to take on, right? And then at one point I got married. I had a baby who's now 4 years old. So that time in my life of deciding to go to college, go to the US, that type of decision making and guidance that my parents walked me through and handheld me during that time really helped me in my career. And now that I'm a parent myself, me and my wife are applying the same things, where even with a 4-year-old, being letting him lead us to where he wants to go or what his interests are, and just nurture that, right? And never always make him feel secured, and always make him feel that whatever happens, we're there, right? So I'm really thankful for that.
Super solid advice there, Jared, and thank you for sharing. I can totally hear my parents as well. No, you know how they say, like, you'll only understand this when you're a parent, and then later on when you become
Yes.
a parent, now you totally get it. Yeah. So
Yes.
so thank you. I appreciate that. So again, I want to highlight the whole point on knowing and then believing in your kids if you're a parent, and then of course collaborating with them on the journey, right? So you mentioned that with Coach Jong, knowing you as a person, knowing Tash, knowing Johan, and what you're all capable of, and then finally stretching you to the extent of your comfort zone, it really is critical in making you, all three of you, the successful kids that you are today. Super solid advice there.
Yeah, you're right, Robbie. Hearing Jared speak so passionately about his experience is really a testament of how Coach and Mom Cathy valued what was really unique in their children and accepted them for what or who they were. So actually, research would tell us that if you pay close attention to your child's attempt to communicate or interact with you, is really the very foundation of what self-esteem is in our children. So this tells our children kasi how valued they feel. So they will in turn get more confident, at the same time feel more motivated. So of course, for those kids who feel good about themselves, at the end, they won't be afraid to try new things. And more likely, kumbaga, payabangan yan. Kasi nga, parang, oh, my dad allowed me to do this. So I really have to try my best. So they will, at the same time, feel proud, no? And at the same time, this will help them cope, diba? Kasi nga, very encouraging sina Coach and Ma'am Cathy. So even if they failed say at one time, they will this will motivate them to try again. So really, diba, sabi nila, for those children with better self-esteem, sila yung they will do better in school, at home, and eventually carry on as adults. And I really like it that Ma'am Cathy and Coach Jong are not judgmental. So parang for their children, it will really give them an avenue to feel safe to express their feelings and opinions. So again, no, it will encourage them. Encourage parents to let your children express their own decisions. Otherwise kasi, ang kalabasan nito, poorer self-esteem. So, syempre, pag hindi na sila sure, parang okay, hindi ko na itatry to. What if Jared didn't try it? So, hindi niya malalaman kung na pwede pala siya mag-succeed in that. And then, again, no, nakikita natin yung parang passing on. Kayo na rin mismo nagsabi, no, Jared would want how he was raised this time to his 4-year-old son.
Thanks, Doc. Really learning a lot here, especially, it's like Rob and myself, our parents as well, and our kids are getting older, and a lot of things that I like to point out now, which both Coach Jong and Miss Cathy pointed out. Of course, the importance of communication. How everyone is unique, or each child is unique, so there's a different way of actually approaching it. And I think the good thing about it, it's all about good upbringing, which leads to trust, that they will do the right thing, and of course the training them to think before you act. No, and I think that's very, very important. And then in Jared's case, believing in Jared that he can actually accomplish his dreams, and of course be able to make the sacrifice. So it's a lot of learnings here, especially for the viewers, and I hope that they're learning as well. So now, Coach, Ms. Cathy, I just want to focus now. Let's turn it over to the whole sports side of things. I'd like to ask now, what role does sports play in your family, as parents and in raising your kids? And for the normal parents out there, or those who really want to know, especially here in Raising a Champion, what is your advice to these parents in encouraging their kids to keep on pursuing their dreams?
Everybody should try to get into sports. You learn so many things in sports, but wag mo naman ipilit, di ba? Kung hindi talaga. But we always encourage them to join so many sports, not only basketball, sports in general, whatever it is, it teaches you a lot of things. Unang-una, first is, what do we do before the game? What do we do before the game? We probably make the sign of the cross or pray a little bit before the thing. So first of all, it teaches you how to have faith. How to have faith, how to hope, how to keep on going in terms of adversity, in terms of, the Lord, di ba? So yun ang una eh. You ask for intervention or something like that, di ba? So it teaches you faith. It teaches you that there is, the Lord, not only to rely on your skills. So that's part of the sports. And then second is, the values that sports teaches. Perseverance, respect, integrity, lahat yan nasa sports din because you've got to respect your peers, you have to respect authority, you have to have integrity, you have to have perseverance. So sports is there also. And of course, you've got to have harmony and peace between all your teammates. Never mind your kalaban. Pero yung teammates mo, kailangan really you're close-knit. So, without even teaching them that way, they learn it in sports. They learn it in sports, even if I am not a sports person, but you will learn it in sports. So that's really a big effect. Even recreational sports, for that matter, no. Even Jared, who's not really sports, got into some sports, but also learned that in a way wherein he sees me, he sees his brother. So, maski pa paano nai-influence din siya, even if he was not into sports directly, but he can see how it's all related. So that's why I think sports is really a really, really big positive effect in our family. And not only our family, even my brothers and my siblings.
5 boys.
So 5 boys. So we were all ingrained in sports. So my apo, the son of Jared, will be the next NBA player ng Philippines. Yun ang target ko sa kanya.
What happened to not pressuring children?
Joke.
Joke lang.
That's great, Coach. How about you, Miss Cathy? I mean, from a wife perspective, from a mom perspective, how important was sports to you,
So
especially with your kids?
sports, like like when Johan was playing, as like or Jong was coaching, or when the PBA, I was there behind. I wasn't the front line. I was always behind. So support and encourage and just let them be, encourage them and there and enjoy. Actually enjoy them, enjoy what they're doing, enjoy the sports. And yeah, it's important, discipline. And the way I see Jong, he's so focused. I see it that he's the example of sports. So he's focused, and then the discipline part. So there.
It teaches you how to deal with stress, pressure. Alam mo naman, sports is so much stress and pressure. It teaches you how to deal with it somehow. I don't know how it does, but it does. Especially in the world now that's so competitive.
Great. So what we've learned here is that, of course, getting into sports, it's not really all about taking it to another level and be a professional athlete, but it's really more of learning all the values, no, that you can get out of it. Fine, it's being competitive, but we don't want to be that competitive. But being able to handle stress, pressure, of course, having that discipline, and of course, hard work, which is very important. So that's great.
One thing pala about sports, you don't win everything, right? So,
Yeah,
syempre,
you lose more than you will win. So
syempre, that's his job. He has to win, right? But actually, what I learned is staying humble. Na even if you're like winning and winning and winning, check yourself. And parang humility in winning as well. And humility in accepting defeat. So that to me is very important in sports. So when the kids see that, that Jong did not win his game or what, we just let him be. But then if he won the championship, it was like for me, winning a championship. Of course, we're so blessed and so grateful. The first time he won a championship in his rookie year, and I was asked a question, how do you feel? And come to think of it, how do I feel? Right now, it's a moment, enjoying that moment. And then tomorrow's another day. It's not about being there or you're like glorified. No, it's still checking yourself. Stay grounded, stay humble.
yeah,
Kasi,
tomorrow you lose and get fired.
yeah,
No?
well, it really taught ako humility. That is the value I learned to me that sports could teach our children.
That's great advice. Again, celebrating victories, but even in defeat, diba, there's always a learning to that, to stay humble and to move forward and just work harder, right? Okay, so I'm gonna turn the question out to Johan, who is the eldest, a former Blue Eagle, and whom I fondly remember. I've known ever since, no? Ever since your stint, what is that?
Nike.
Years ago, Nike All Asia Camp.
20 years ago, sir.
Was that
First
20 years
Nike.
ago? Yeah, when your mom Cathy and yourself visited the office and you were there to help you out. So yeah, so I remember you guys fondly and having to follow your career, especially with college ball and then now as a medical professional. A lot of good things coming for you. And, I just wanted to ask, how were your parents able to pass on the teaching to you kids?
Hi. Yeah, good day, everyone. So, I think my siblings and my parents basically said a lot na and agree naman ako sa kanila. For me, from a sports perspective, what I enjoyed most is that yung dad ko, I think he talked to me at least, the way he would talk to his players, which is very straightforward, frank, no BS, kumbaga. So, and that's also how I enjoyed being coached also. I was under Coach Jamai, Coach Norman. Parang ganun din sila magsalita in their own way, and that's how I appreciated being raised na kumbaga wag na tayo magbulahan dito. This is the right is right, wrong is wrong. So I think that's more of
what I took into, and I think that's also how he talked to me kasi alam niyang nagbabasketball ako, so alam niya kung paano makipag-usap ang coach sa player, or kasi yung coach by extension para silang yung parents natin. Sir Ellie, legendary football player kayo in Ateneo, so I'm sure you know how our coaches semi-raised us. In fact, we spend more time with our teammates and coaches than with our actual family. So by extension, I'm sure you want to be coached or raised the way parang though the way you want to be coached is the way that your parents talk to you at home or the way they treat you. So I think that by extension, yun yung na-relate ko. So para lang niya akong kino-coach sa bahay. So yun yung experience ko.
But how was Coach Jong, as a dad in terms of, let's say, with sports? Was it very important to him for you to make it big in the basketball scene, or was it something deeper than that?
No naman, mas important for him yung grades ko, actually, yung academics ko. I think my siblings and my parents would agree that they had to mas tinututukan nila ako sa grades than my other siblings kasi yung dalawa kong kapatid mahilig naman sila mag-aaral talaga. So I think that's where he focused more rather than the sports side, kasi yung thinking niya is kung dami ko ng coach sa Ateneo, hindi ko na kailangan ng isa pang coach sa sports sa bahay. So he was more of a father than a coach to me, which is something I appreciate kasi I've seen yung coaches / parents in our games. I don't think I would have appreciated that on his part kasi it's just not my personality. It works for some, it doesn't work for others. So I appreciate that about him naman, na talagang ang basketball, bahala na yung mga coach mo dyan. Basta dito sa bahay, sa academics, discipline, siya yung in charge talaga.
And that must have been a tough job for Coach Jong. No? I mean, knowing that he's a coach, right? And I guess we all fall into the trap also as athletes. I'm sure Robbie can relate that. Sometimes we go a little overboard and try to teach our kids how to play, and that kind of increases the pressure on them. No? But of course, I think with Coach Jong and Miss Cathy, it's just really keeping it real. It's still all about having a good education, and it's again the importance of balancing, sports and education at the same time. And I think that's something that's very important for parents to know, that despite whatever path or whatever happens, everything will be okay as long as the priorities are set straight. So thanks for this. So I'd like to ask Doc Shobes, what's your analysis on this one?
Right. So, hearing the kids now talking as adults and hearing naman the journey that that Coach and Ma'am Cathy went through, it made me realize, I would say, that the value of sports have molded them and had the greatest impact actually during their adolescent stage, which is a very, very critical part in any of our children's lives, because this is actually in preparation for adulthood, diba? So actually, may evidence naman talaga na nagsasabi yung value ng sports, pinaka-critical sa sports. So aside from the personal pleasure, because of the participation, syempre, diba, especially yan, UAAP, diba, parang yung mga values, core values na bibuild talaga, dumadating actually during the adolescent stage. So what values are these, diba? Moral values, yan. Si Coach na nagsabi, faith, you start every game with a prayer, perseverance, obedience. So again, this emphasizes the rules and respect for others. Tapos yung competence values, diba? Yung achievement, dealing with losses, showing skill. Dito rin lahat nakikita sa parang adolescent na. Kasi nga dito na talaga yung parang nagpipeak yung mga competitive stages talaga. So yan, just speaking of competition, competence values, diba? Achievement. Tapos, yung pag natalo ka, di ba? So, parang being a gracious loser, parang mas lumalabas talaga pag sa mga games na. So, yung status values lumalabas din, di ba? Parang especially during I'm sure Johan can relate, di ba? Yung winning status, parang ayaw mo na matalo. Although, of course, pag natatalo ka, again, yung value na maintaining humility should be there. Na, again, in-emphasize rin ni Ma'am Cathy. So, tapos yung parang yung ina-emphasize rin ng image natin na parang kahit na we win pa rin, humble pa rin tayo. So, yun yung nagustuhan ko. Parang nakita talaga natin during the adolescent stage how it worked and developed them into well-rounded adults that I can see now and can tell. So, congratulations for bringing in the value of sports, Coach Jong and Ma'am Cathy.
Thank you, Doc.
Thanks, Doc.
Congrats, Mama and Papa.
Thanks. You know, kasi can I say something about what Johan was saying? Kasi, I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy watching. I enjoyed watching him play. If you become a critic of your son or sino, paano mo may enjoy yung laro kung magiging critic ka? Masaya. Pag pinasok siya, masaya ako. I enjoy the game. Kung nakashoot siya, masaya ako. If he does something good, masaya ako. You enjoy the game now, and then you become, you enjoy your son playing, you enjoy watching him play, just like Jared also. Though he was not into sports, we enrolled him in Ateneo's ABC yata yun, something like that sa Jared, tama? ABC, and then, maski ayaw niya, we were enrolling him, my mother used to bring him to the clinic so he can get into sports, and then pag nakasalo siya ng bola, masaya na ako, nakasalo siya ng bola. It's just nice. And then and Natasha, when I used to watch her play volleyball, nagsa-service siya pero short ang service niya. And then finally, when her service went over the net, masaya ka na, di ba? Parang, you enjoy every bit rather than being a critic of the game. That's what maybe because I'm a basketball coach and I critique the whole game as a basketball coach. Now, when I watch my children play or watching any basketball game, I'd like to watch to enjoy. So, yun ang nakita ko dito that's why I was not like my Jonathan said, I was not a coach. Let your coach take care. Let me be a father where I can watch, enjoy you play the game. Yun ang, and it felt so good. Pag nag-graduate ka, hindi na baling walang honors, basta graduate, masaya na ako. Parang ganun ba? I'm the type of parent.
Ako, I like it. Like when, di ba, Jong's a coach and then Johan was playing and from the time he was young, I liked it that I never heard, because I don't know anything about basketball until now. I mean, I like it that Jong does not say that your coach should have done this or your coach should do this. He never, I never heard him say something about the game or about the coach. None. I like that. Yeah. So there's like a respect that Johan looks up to his coaches. Yeah. There.
Yeah. I think yung kay Doc Shobs rin, malaking bagay yung sinabi niyang humility kasi growing up around yung sa dad ko, parang yung lagi niyang sinasabi or what he showed us, he didn't say kasi he doesn't talk so much naman, is you do what you do not for the applause or for the accolades kasi those will follow. So, yun. So sa start, when he was starting to win championships, he kept humble, which is hard to do when you win, I'm sure. So he never praised himself. He allowed like the other people to do the praising for him. And I think it's something na we all inherited na hindi namin to ginagawa para magyabang or para purihin ng tao. And it's also what we saw growing up kasi yung mga friends ni Papa noon, sila Samboy Lim, Hector Calma, very humble din sila, very quiet. It's despite the fact na they were the best of the best during the time. Sila Coach Alan, quiet lang sila in spite of being MVPs and some of the greatest PBA players, tahimik pa rin sila. So aside from what we picked up from our parents, we also picked it up from the people they were around. So I think that's an important thing to note also, yung humility and being down to earth.
I love what's been shared so far, especially on the value of humility, on keeping grounded, and also the separation of being a parent and a coach, and also appreciating the progress. And not only that, but also enjoying whatever it is that your kids get into, other than, I mean, instead of just pressuring them to do their best, it's really making sure that also as a parent, it's enjoying the fact that they are trying all these different things. So we've learned so much from what you've shared with us today. And if you were to summarize, Coach Jong and Miss Cathy, what can we learn from your journey so far on how to raise a champion?
Yeah, for me, it's faith. Have faith. It will really guide you. Faith gives you hope. Faith gives you makes you believe. Diba? Faith in the Lord gives you guidance. I think you should also teach your kids proper values, because nawawala na rin yung values ngayon, di ba? And same with religion, or not, let's not call it religion, but faith in the Lord. Nawawala kunti-kunti, because sometimes we sacrifice values for the end goal, which eventually becomes money. Something like that, and of course, peace and love, because at the end of the day, it's relationships that will make us push through, even in the world, for that matter, diba? It's relationship that will make us push through. So yun lang ang foundation and basic of all human beings. I think, is faith, the values, and love and peace, and I think everything will work out very well.
Miss Cathy, would you like to add to that?
I think you said it all. So
Yeah.
it's really spirituality, faith, and a moral compass. They have guide. They know, and they actually keep on talking about it, but be modeling to them, and then they see you how when you face adversities, challenges, or things that happen to you that you don't like. What do they see? How do you react? Right? So it's not really all smooth for Jong, especially his career. Like it's very competitive. How did we react? Did we resent it? Whatever it was that was done? No, it's more of how we react. Moral compass. There.
Thank you for that. So there you have it, the Uichicos tips on how to raise a champion. So allow me to add on to that and recap what we've gathered so far from what you've shared. So the first is the value of exposure and preparation, which are significant points in the Uichico family. So this has helped the children figure out what direction they want to take in their lives as they try out different activities and find what works for them and what doesn't. Number two, the value of knowing the kids and collaborating with them. So this has allowed Cathy and Coach Jong to have a healthy communication and relationship with the children, and it gives them the confidence to have their kids make their own decisions. And number three, the value of sports, which has had a positive effect in the Chico family because it serves as a platform to learn and practice different values like handling pressure and stress. And it also teaches you that no matter the result or achievement, to stay grounded and humble. So now it's time for our next segment called Crunch Time. And all right, guys, Johan, Jared, and Tasha, we're gonna throw you some questions about your parents, and you're gonna have to answer them as fast as you can. So there's no need to explain unless we can't help but ask. All you need to say is mom or dad or your mom or their names. All right?
Okay.
Ian.
Ready? Game. Okay.
Wow.
First question: who is your favorite parent?
Dad.
Mom.
Father Pio, the priest.
Okay.
Father God.
Right. So I go next. Who is the better cook?
Mama.
Mom.
Mom.
Okay, next. Who is the coolest parent?
Dad.
Papa.
Dad.
Ako, hindi
Who is
masarap
the-
yung pagkain mamaya. Betsinin tayo.
Okay. Who is the more expressive parent?
Mama.
Mom.
Mom.
Who is most likely to get jealous over something silly?
Mama.
Ako,
I think it's Dad.
jealous. Jealous?
But they're not really jealous type.
They're not jealous. Jealous. No, jealous not the word, but no, none.
Sino ang may inis sa maliit na bagay?
Yan. There, that's what I translated eh.
That's different, but not jealous.
Sino ang may inis sa maliit na bagay?
What? Why are you adding question? Not question.
Ikaw,
Alright.
Sino?
That's the question.
I'm just interpreting it the right way.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Next question. Kids, who is most likely to forget an anniversary?
Dad.
None of them.
None of them, they remember always.
None of them pala, sorry.
You're not here kasi.
Yeah.
I'm not there, so I
Just-
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Who is most likely to prepare a romantic date?
Papa.
huh?
Okay,
In his own way.
go ahead. Romantic cheeseburger date.
Yeah.
They're not kasi like expressive, like, big gestures. It's just everyday things. And they not surprises, like they plan things together, I guess.
That's great. I like the teamwork already happening at this level. Who's most likely to win in every argument?
Mama.
Mom.
Mom.
There's no, it's
There's
only
no
one
argu-
answer that's the right
There's
answer.
no argument.
There's no argument. They do not argue because we already know.
Compromise sa akin kasi.
There's no argument. See, because I believe in peace.
Walang compromise ang value sa akin. So, ayun na.
There's
Tama.
no argument.
All right. Next question. Who is most likely to miss their partner?
Ako, I miss Jong.
Mom. Why am I answering they're playing it safe.
Father Pio.
Yeah.
Go, Doc.
Who is most likely to yell at their partner?
La,
Tayo.
sisigawan tayo mamaya nito.
Nagyayama
Just
tayo.
tell the truth, whoever.
I think they're both equally yelling at each other. But that's what brings harmony in our family.
I agree.
It's not yelling, it's just the way they
They are
talk.
passionate.
Passionate.
Okay, next. Who is most likely to say I love you first?
Mama.
Mom.
Mom.
Okay, who's most likely to be the stage parent?
No one's a stage parent.
Yeah.
But mom likes taking pictures.
Mama.
Of course. Siyempre, I'm proud of you guys.
See, evidence.
All right. This might be a given, but we'll never know. Who is most likely to be the parent coach?
Like on sports or like
Anything.
Maybe anything.
Papa.
I think they're both coaches in their own way.
I think both too. I can think of
Lagi.
both. Both. In
Okay.
different situations.
Sila yung
Right.
safe eh. Hindi naman silang dalawa yung safe eh.
Same answer.
Bawal
Okay.
safe.
Here goes. Who is most likely to make up cute nicknames for the kids?
Papa.
Father.
Yeah, that.
It's only cute to him.
Yeah.
They have nicknames. Eh. They all three have their nicknames.
Aww.
They have their nicknames.
Oh.
They all three have their nicknames.
Aww.
Yeah, all three.
But just
The two, you want, will I tell them?
meron.
Huh?
Go ahead.
My two sons I call them baby. Baby. And Natasha, I call her beauty. See?
And now your apo you call baby also, so there's 3 babies.
And I call my apo baby also. So
There's only one
Or-
beauty.
and then one beauty. I just like to, terms of endearment ko lang yun. Terms of endearment. So, I don't know why, but even si Cathy, I don't call her Cathy.
What do you call
So,
C.
yun.
Call her C. You're the
Yeah.
first gossip girl, Pop.
It's just me. It's just me.
Okay. Okay, next. Who is most likely to spoil the kids?
Dad.
Mom.
I'm not spoiled.
Well, you're the eldest, baby. Jonathan. You're the eldest.
Spoiled. Tasha's spoiled. Will I say the... Kasi she knows when Papa wins a championship, she knows where she's going. Disney World.
Okay, so who's most likely to discipline the kids?
Papa.
Both.
All right. Okay, final question. What is your family motto?
Family motto. The
You-
kids.
Yeah. Kayo, what is
What's our family motto?
One big fight.
No, they're
Wala
not.
kaming family motto. I don't think we have.
Go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Better.
Follow
yeah.
your bliss.
Go with the flow. Yeah. We
Go
are,
with the flow.
okay, let's go. Go. Walang masyadong arte. If you want to go to the beach, maybe tonight, let's go to the beach na.
Yeah,
Tonight,
we're
let me
very
just go to the beach tonight. So that's what we want.
Follow your
No,
bliss. Yeah.
walang masyadong arte. No masyadong arte.
I love that because it's super consistent. Like it's consistent also with episode 13 on Coach Jong's tips. So, great. Crunch time is done. And of course, thank you so
Mic
much.
off.
Thank you so much to the Uichico family for sharing your experience and your time with us and for being super game to answer our questions today. So we've come to the end of the episode for our final messages. So Doc Shobes, Relly, and Robbie, let's share with our teammates what we have in store for them in our next episode.
Right. So thank you again to the Uichicos. Super enjoyed what we had for tonight. And again, I'd like to invite everyone for our upcoming webinar. This is entitled Quarantine, Working Together During Times of Crisis and Beyond. So we will be talking about the challenges that children are facing and how we can actually intervene during these times of uncertain times.
Thanks, Doc. So there you have it, folks. On behalf of the Gold Diggers, I would like to thank you and, of course, the Uichicos for joining us tonight. Please do share your thoughts with us on our Facebook page and tag the Gold Diggers PH. Or you can post or comment on our video uploads on Facebook and YouTube. We'd really love to hear from you guys. Again, our Facebook page is the Gold Diggers PH. If you haven't liked or followed us, click that button and continue to dig with us. Tune in next week and catch another episode of Raising a Champion as we feature this time the badminton family sensation Nelson, Kenny, and Kenny Vic Asuncion. Got any questions for the Asuncions? Hit us up on our Facebook page. See you guys. Robbie?
Thanks, Relly. Lots of tips and great examples shared here tonight by Coach Jong and Miss Cathy, and especially the rest of the Uichico family. So thank you, Johan, Jared, and Tasha. You know, we really see the passion that you mutually have for sports, Coach Jong and Miss Cathy for parenting, but for everyone really, and most especially, it's really for each other, right? So super appreciative of this experience. Your mutual sports-filled life and parenting journey so far is one to emulate, and we thank you so much for the wisdom, the experience, and the time that you shared with us and the rest of our listeners. So thanks to you guys. There's a lot that we can learn from sports, and especially in raising a champion. So thank you so much. Teammates, check out our inaugural Sports Events Essential episodes that we've posted on our social media pages, which is part of our ambitious mission to help uplift and progress Philippine sports. right? So please check out our Facebook page for more details on our Sports Events Essentials virtual learning sessions and see how you can participate in that program. Lastly, once again, let's continue the fundraising for our advocacy Pitch and PH, and let's continue helping out fellow Filipinos who are in most need. Please follow our Facebook page for more details on how you too can pitch in for PH. Finally, over to the couple of the hour. Coach Jong and Miss Cathy, your final message for the episode, please.
Thank you very much. I hope that your viewers, listeners learned a little bit, that they can use in their parenting, especially, the young parents, that are still about to or have little kids. If you can let them get into sports, then so be it. It's a good avenue for the kids to learn on their own. But I enjoyed this show.
Yes, we did.
It's just a fun show. In fact, it's an avenue for us three to get, kami, my wife, and all the three kids to get together, and then just being open. So it was really fun. Thank you very much, Robbie, Relly, Simon, and Doc Shobi. And that's why my kids have a hard time who is most likely. It's because we're trying parang balance eh. Sometimes it's her, sometimes it's me, depending on what the situation is. So yun, probably. But everything should be a balance. We try to balance it. So anyway, thank you very much, and we all had some fun.
Thank you, Rally, Robbie, Simon, Doctora. Thank you so much. We really had fun. I enjoyed. Ako, as a parent, parang being a parent, being a young parent and future parent, just enjoy your role. Don't overthink. Just enjoy being a parent. Enjoy your kids. Yan. And then love. Always say, I love you.
Thank you so much. What a great way to wrap up this episode. And again, we're so grateful to have you here and really appreciate the time you've given us. So we hope you enjoyed this episode with the Uichicos on how to raise a champion. And that answer session for today. Catch you on the next episode of the Gold Diggers. Remember to dream, dig in, and win. Take care and see you.